Folks at home, welcome back to the Backyard Bass Pond, and you gotta love the springtime because that means it's spawning season. And here in Alabama, the bass usually spawn in March, the bluegills spawn on the first full moon in April, and the shad spawn occurs in May. But since we've built this pond, I've learned a little tip that bass actually spawn roughly the same time that the toads move in and mate. And you guessed it, the toads have arrived. So before we go underwater, let's take a look at what's going on above the surface. So I've turned the volume down on the toads a little bit because it is extremely loud. But one of the things I really like to watch is when they make that mistake of jumping off into the water. So the first year they came to the pond, 2 of them were mating and jumped in, and Bonnie attempted to eat them, but they played dead. And check out what happened this year when one of the toads jumped into the pond. That was a pretty cool shot. Neither one of them got it. I don't think that they actually eat them. I think they know that they're poisonous. But as much as I like frog fishing, it's always fun to watch. Ooh, almost got to see a live toad blow up right there. So now let's talk about our pet bass, Bonnie and Clyde, spawning. So last year we had a lot of success with putting down these fiber mats, and we actually got Bonnie to lay her eggs on it, but unfortunately Clyde didn't come and fertilize them. But I think it's going to be a lot better this year. The two seem to be getting along, and actually all of the fish in the pond get along until spawning season. So you'll see the bass and bluegills start fighting for position. They like spawning in the shallow water, and one thing they do not want around is a crappie. So Outlaw is not going to have any friends in the shallow part of this pond. So now let's talk about spawning mats and where we're going to put them. So last year we put one right there and Bonnie spawned on it, and the bluegills like to spawn right over there in that area. So this year I'm going to try to divide the pond up. Ideally bass like to spawn in the shallow area, so we would put some mats over here for them, put a separator gate, and then maybe have the bluegills over here. But since the bluegills spawned right there last year, what I'm going to do is take this stump, we're going to tuck it in that little corner right there, put a spawning mat right in front of it, put a little smaller mat right there for the bluegills, and then put one big mat down here in the deep end because Bonnie has been staying down there a lot. You can see some of those tadpoles have made it down there to the deep end also. And all that should make for a prime spawning habitat. You can see Clyde's out of his cave. He's a lot more friendly these days, so look here, Clyde. We need you to do your job and fertilize the eggs this year. Alright, I got the mats installed, and it looks like the golden shiners love it already. They're over there hovering over it, and look who it is. Literally right after I put this mat in, the bass comes to check it out. While I was out fishing yesterday at a pond, I was filming some bedding bass, and check this out. Look at that little turtle. Guys, look at that baby turtle. Look at that, guys. I just caught a tiny baby turtle. Now the owner here says this pond is overpopulated with turtles, so we're going to bring this little guy home. Sarah, I brought you a prize. You want to see it?
Baby turtle.
Look how little he is. He's a little bitty guy.
Huh? He doesn't bite.
No, he won't bite you. Let Daddy hold him, and you can touch him. You want to pet him? What do you want to name him?
Sarah.
That's your name.
I want him forever and ever and ever.
You want him forever? You gonna take good care of him?
Yeah.
Be real gentle. Put him in my hand. Let me hold him. You want to put him in our turtle aquarium?
Sure. I'm gonna drop him.
I'll hold him. Let me hold him, and I'll put him in there, okay?
Can
okay.
I touch him?
Yeah, you want to watch him run? Look at him. He's fast. He's a little playful guy, isn't he? Well, folks, you can definitely tell that spring's in there. I was just out here feeding the bass, and right over there in that grass right there, I pulled this little guy out. It's the smallest crawfish I've ever seen. He's a little bitty tiny guy, and we definitely don't want crawfish down in the pond because they burrow holes and they'll punch holes in your liner. But check him out. I mean, he's got little teeny tiny pinchers, and rather than feed this little guy to Moby, I think I'll let him hang out in the turtle pond for a little while. Look at these guys just out here enjoying their outside time, but I put a quarter down just to show you a size comparison on how tiny these little guys are. tell me that isn't a dynamic duo right there. So folks, you know how we like to do it. I'll let you name all of our pets, so leave a comment for the new turtle and new crawfish, and whoever's name we choose, we'll send you out a prize package. And speaking of winners, in our last micro fishing video, we went out and caught a pet crappie, and we had a ton of comments, but the most liked comment came from Tom, and he said name him Peanut in honor of the farm. So guys, now we have a crappie named Peanut, and we're just gonna roll with that. So Tom, send me your info and I'll send your package out. So I've just got him in the old Ninja Turtle tank. I put a rock and a little piece of wood over here, and you can see the crawfish is hanging out here on this side, the little turtle over there by the wood. So now I'm going to get their basking lamps, put them up here, because these little turtles have to have that heating lamp. But again folks, this is just temporary. We're just going to have this little guy in here until he gets old enough to fend for himself out there at the turtle pond. Alright folks, time for a pond update. So we had a new contractor come out. He's got a lot of experience building ponds, and he gave us some suggestions. So all these pink flags out here were our original pond design. Well, he actually came out with a level and redesigned the layout of the pond. You can see where we were going that way, which is kind of going uphill. He decided to come this way to that last blue flag over there, and basically he just wants to use the natural contours of the land to build the pond. So the dam area is still going to be the same, but rather than going that way, going uphill, we're heading back that way. But he's putting all his numbers together, and we should get started with something next week. But now take a look at this, guys. So this is our old fallen oak tree that we thought was dead. I find that very interesting. I don't know if the tree is just still somehow alive, or if maybe they can still grow leaves even after they're dead. So I mean, at least 75% of the roots are out of the ground, but maybe there's enough down in there. That looks like it might have been the trunk line, I'm not sure. Maybe there's enough that it survived. But either way, I talked to some guys, some tree experts. They said there's basically no way you can lift a tree up that old and have it survive. So we got to get this big guy moved out because it's in the pond location. We're still going to repurpose a lot of that wood and use some of it for the pond. So we did a survey asking you guys if we should get any farm animals, and there was some interest, so we're going to go ahead and build a fence. I'm not going to tell you guys what's going to go in it just yet, but we got our fencing, our T-post, got some wooden posts right there. But before we build the fence, I want to grow some grass, so we got some fertilizer, grass seed, clover mix. About to hop on the tractor and get it planted. It's out here doing some work on the tractor. Check this little guy out. Just hanging up here in the top of some of these crops we planted for the deer. That's wild. Might not want to go walking through there anytime soon. Alright folks, second night, time to feed Moby a couple more crawfish. Moby's eyeing him. Let's see if he wants to eat another crawfish. Man, that's a fast one. Got him. Oh, he got the claws off. That's what they try to do. Once they get the pinchers off, looks like he's still got one pincher. Oh, it may have been his back claws that he got. Moby may be done with the crawfish. Alright, gonna drop one more in. So I left the camera rolling because I thought that he may eventually eat them. And he shows some interest in one, but he had also just eaten 2 crawfish the night before. So he keeps playing with this one, but the interesting story is, watch this crawfish over on the right side of the tank. Now this is one smart little guy. He quickly realizes that he ain't going to survive down there on the bottom, so he starts planning his escape and starts climbing the aqua decor background. And Moby doesn't like that very much. He comes over there and gives him a shot, but the crawfish hangs on even while he's got his pinchers poked out at Moby. He moves when Moby's on the other side of the tank and stays still when he comes nearby. And Moby's going to have one last shot to get him before he reaches safety, but he turns it down. Well folks, we have quite the escape artist. That was pretty cool, and he is seeking safety right there. That's crazy how Mother Nature sometimes just finds a way to survive. So that little guy definitely earned his freedom. We're going to release him. If you can ever survive the tank of Moby, you definitely earned your release. So check him out. Look at him. He's just cheesing for a photo op right now. He's happy as could be. Crazy how things work out sometimes. Well, Moby, I guess we'll feed you some shiners tonight. Got him. He's getting big. Now let's check in on the turtles. This is Ranger, our oldest turtle, out there sunning on a rock with one of the smaller Ninja Turtles. And they definitely come out when the sun's out or when it's feeding time. You'll see the Ninja Turtles will kind of hide throughout the day, but if you start throwing some food in the water, they'll come out. And so far, all the turtles get along great. Now let's check back in on those mats that I put in. You can definitely tell everybody's jockeying for a mat. So we even have Outlaw the crappie in there. The bluegills, you can see Bonnie's kind of creeping up. She wants in there. She's making her claim to it as well. But I think what I'm going to do is wait until either a male or female locks on a nest and then try to separate the bass from the bluegills because we don't want them to fight this year. But it looks like Bonnie's going back to her original spawning spot that she spawned last year. And I've heard that in the past, that bass will go back to the same spawning flats every year and spawn. And check this out. There's a dead shiner on her mat. She's cleaning it up, trying to get it ready for spawning season. So folks, fingers crossed that Clive will actually fertilize the eggs, because if he doesn't, he's going to get replaced by Moby. But that's going to wrap up this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to follow along with all of our backyard, pond, and farm projects. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and we will see you all next time.
Bonnie and Clyde were pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children.